The cursor is already hovering over send, and your shoulders have gone still. The thought demands that you answer immediately, as if any delay is dangerous. In a few minutes, you will be able to tell a useful signal from an inner command you do not have to obey. The first sign of this kind of command is simple. Your body is already ready to act, even though you have not decided anything yet. Your fingers type harder, your jaw is tight, and there is only one option in your head. Answer, refuse, cancel, leave. In that moment, the thought feels like a fact precisely because it leaves no room to check it. But persuasiveness and being right are different things. If you can notice the thought before you have agreed with it, choice returns between the impulse and the action. Next, we will look at how to recognize this substitution in an ordinary day and ask yourself the question that changes the direction of your reaction. By the end of this conversation, your thoughts will not become quiet on command, but they will stop automatically controlling your hands and your words. You will be able to notice, right now, a version of what is happening has appeared inside, not a ready-made instruction. What usually comes from that is not perfect calm, but a more useful state. Enough clarity not to do something unnecessary. Picture an ordinary day. Your manager writes, "Stop by when you have time." An acquaintance answers more briefly than usual. At home, someone sits in tired silence. In a few seconds, the mind fills in the story. They are unhappy with you. They are pulling away from you. You ruined everything again. Then a decision appears. Justify yourself in advance. Press with questions. Shut down. Or give up on something that still seemed important that morning. The cost of that speed is not obvious right away. One message can be fixed, but a repeated choice gradually narrows your life. You ask less, guess other people's intentions more often, avoid tasks where there is no guarantee, and take fatigue as accurate knowledge about yourself. The question of this episode is very practical. Where exactly will a thought lead if you give it control today? A thought rarely shows identification. It simply appears in a familiar voice and says, "I have figured it all out." This sounds especially convincing when you are tired, rushed, or already hurt. Attention narrows, ambiguous details disappear, and the first version of events is given the status of the only possible one. Not because you are naive, it is easier for the brain to quickly finish an uncertain story than to hold several explanations for a long time. That is why the content of a thought is only half of what is happening. The other half is the way it gets your agreement. A useful observation allows clarification. It seems like that conversation was tense. I should ask. An inner command closes the discussion. Everything is clear. They do not respect me. Answer more harshly. It loves words like always, never, definitely, and immediately. Not every word like that makes a thought false, but every one of them asks to be checked. In the office kitchen, an employee sees that her coworkers went quiet when she walked in. Her first thought is, they were discussing my mistake. She sets her cup down a little louder, goes back to her desk, and starts writing a cold message to one of them. 10 minutes later, it turns out the conversation was about a surprise for someone else. The message has not been sent yet, but her body has already lived through being excluded from the group. Her back is tense, work has been dropped, 2 neutral looks have been read as proof. This scene matters not because of the happy ending. Sometimes coworkers really are discussing a mistake, the person you are speaking with really is angry, and an offer really is not in your interest. Checking a thought does not force you to look at everything optimistically. It separates a signal from a sentence. A signal helps you gather data and choose a response. A sentence appoints the guilty person, the future, and your role in advance, then rushes you to act inside that invented sense of closure. There is another trap too. A thought can be reasonable in form, but destructive in direction. "This is not the best moment to bring it up" sounds balanced. If that phrase appears every time before a difficult conversation, it leads to years of silence. "I need to prepare more" sometimes protects quality, and sometimes endlessly delays an application, an interview, or an important request. The truth of a thought is checked not only by facts, but also by the route it repeats. Look at an evening after a hard day. A training form is open on the table, and registration closes in 20 minutes. Inside, you hear, "You will quit anyway, do not waste the money." This thought has convincing material. 2 unfinished programs, tired hands, the desire to close the laptop.
But it does not take into account that the past courses were chosen out of guilt, while this one is needed for a specific work task. If you accept it without checking, the past gets the right to decide for the present. Here the helpful question is, where is this thought trying to take me? Not, is it pleasant, and not, do I want to hear it? The direction is visible in the next action. Is it leading to clarification, an honest refusal, rest, and a later return? Or to a sharp email, disappearing, self-blame, another cancellation of something meaningful to you? The same discomfort can accompany both a wise refusal and a familiar escape. The next check concerns the quality of your inner view. After this thought, did it become clearer what happened and what can be done? Clarity usually makes the picture more complex, but the action more specific. You notice facts, the limits of what you know, and your own responsibility. Fog works the other way. It explains everything at once, but leaves only anxiety and a general urge to save yourself. After it, there is a lot of tension, but it is impossible to name one testable next step. And finally, imagine the most sensitive, compassionate, and reliable version of yourself. Not the one that allows everything and avoids what is unpleasant, but the one you could trust with the consequences. Would that version believe this thought completely? Maybe it would admit, yes, there was rudeness in that conversation, and it should not be ignored. But it would probably not add, so nobody needs you. Compassion does not cancel boundaries. It removes humiliation from the way you protect them. This creates an important distinction between "this thought appeared" and "I will act this way." The first does not require your permission. The second already belongs to choice. You do not have to argue with every phrase in your head, prove the opposite to it, or achieve total certainty. It is enough not to give every thought signing authority over your decisions. In the next situation, do not try to stop the stream of thoughts. Choose one, the one after which your hand is already reaching to send, cancel, or promise something. Name it in one plain sentence. He is silent, so I do not matter to him. I am tired, so I cannot handle it. I am being criticized, so I need to defend myself. This wording turns vague pressure into a statement you can examine. Then ask 4 questions. Where is this thought leading me with the next action? Does it add understanding, or does it muddy the picture? Would my most sensitive and reliable version believe it? Is it worth acting exactly this way, and am I going to do it? The last question needs to stand on its own. You can recognize the impulse as understandable and still decide, I am not sending the message today. I am not canceling the conversation. First, I will clarify one fact. Checking the result takes less than a minute. After the questions, you should be able to name not a perfect decision, but one action whose consequences you are ready to answer for. Reread the email in the morning. Ask, what did you mean? Write down the concern and return to the form after dinner. If your head still contains only "save yourself now" or "nothing matters," there is no clarity yet. Put off the irreversible step, if it is safe, and gather the missing fact. The first time, the space between thought and action may appear only after a sharp reply. Then the practice still happened. Noticing the chain after the fact is more useful than calling the attempt a failure. Remember the exact phrase that sounded inside, and note what action it pushed you toward. In the next similar moment, you will recognize it earlier. The goal is not flawlessness, but for the moment of recognition to gradually move closer to choice. Today you will still meet a thought that arrives uninvited and speaks with confidence. Maybe it will happen in a message thread, outside an office door, or in the evening when you have less energy than tasks. There is no need to hold an inner trial. Hear the phrase and ask where it leads. If the answer is toward more clarity and an action your reliable version can stand behind, the thought deserves attention.
If it leads toward fog and familiar sharpness, the decision can wait. Freedom of choice rarely feels like a loud victory. More often, it is an unremarkable moment. The message stays in drafts. A question is asked instead of an accusation. A refusal sounds without attack, and an important task is not canceled because of one heavy minute. Thoughts will continue to appear, but the next one may turn out not to be an order, only a candidate for your trust.